Keep it rolling, baby, and welcome to episode 4 of Klassic Koach. Today's episode takes us back to June 29th, 2016, and our namesake band, Papa Roach, is up with Infest. In this episode, we introduce the phrase, the thick of it, for the first time, loving a good meathead, and Jenny can't hide how much she hates this band. So Roach Riders and Indigo Angels cut my life into pieces as we ask the burning question, does Papa Roach's Infest belong in the Nu-Metal Canon? Welcome to Klassic Koach.
Welcome to the Roach Koach podcast, the journey to create the Nu-Metal Canon. My name is Lorin Kozlowski, your host for this. My co-host across the table from me, as always, Jennifer Bloomer.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm fine, Lorin. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited to talk about this album with you
Are
today.
you?
And always behind the board, helping us with production, Mr. Matt Nas. Thanks so much for helping us out again tonight,
My
Matt.
absolute pleasure. Thank you, Lauren.
All right. Yeah, we are talking about tonight Papa Roach's Infest. Their debut album came out in the spring of 2000, if I'm correct.
Yes, it came out in April of 2000.
April of 2000. I remember first hearing about this band on TRL, Last
Yeah.
Resort video.
Yeah.
Immediately, right up there in front of you. I know how you feel. You have feelings about it now.
I have feelings about it now.
At the time, what were your thoughts on Papa Roach?
At the time, I'd reached a point where I had leaned more into listening to ska and punk music. So when this came out, I was not about to admit that I liked it. I don't remember if I actually did or not, but I do remember, and I hate this now, that I thought Coby Dick, as he called himself, I was like, he's a babe, but I'm not going to listen to this. And I hate that thought.
You hate the thought that you thought he was a babe.
You know what? This is a place for honesty.
It is.
So
Absolutely.
there you go.
I did not really care for them when it came out. I have the CD now because I'm a bit of a completist, and I got really into them with their second album, Love, Hate, Tragedy.
Yeah, great name.
Isn't it?
No. That was full sarcasm.
We are going to get into the names of things on this. But no, I got really into them with that second record. I got into them for their third album, and I was just fully in. So I was like, I'm going to go back and get Infest and get really into it. But really, before we doing the show, I had not really listened as deeply to this album as I did for this episode. I gave it 3 real good listens. How many times did you listen to it?
I listened to it 5 times.
Okay.
Which, compared to the amount of times that I listened to the other albums, is extremely conservative. It was about 4.5 times too many.
4.5. So you were not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Okay. Well, I just want to start this up before we can get into tracks. I think the thing that I was most struck by through the listens is that this band is both dumb but sincere.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that can be something that you don't like about it, but I kind of appreciated it in that sort of heart on the sleeve, just putting it all out there. Feelings. I enjoyed that aspect. Sometimes it was the lyrics. A lot of the times the lyrics are rather clunky, but they come from a good place.
I guess so.
Okay.
I think they come from a good place, but also your job is to make a good song. So why don't we try to do that, guys?
Okay. Fair enough.
I think that it might be something about the the way we're going through these, maybe the order. I don't know, because where Chino leaves me wondering, what these dudes I never have one single question about what they're trying to get across. It is like a 5th grader wrote me an essay, and I'm just like, okay. Thank you, Jacoby. You can sit down now. Please stop talking.
I wanted to mention this. So I found in my pile of books at home, I have from 2004 the Rolling Stone album guide, where they basically went back through and really re-reviewed a lot of albums that the magazine had reviewed. And I pulled open the Papa Roach section to see if there even was one. And you're gonna love this, Matt. Since it's 2004, they only have ratings for the first 3 albums, but the Infest was given 4 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
And Love, Hate, Tragedy and Getting Away with Murder were both given 3.5 stars. Just for comparison's sake, it's right next to Pantera because it's alphabetical, and Pantera only got 4 stars for Vulgar Display of Power, and then everything else was 3 stars. So, yeah, comparatively speaking, Rolling Stone was like, Pantera's pretty good, but Papa Roach, That's where the money's at.
Sure. Well, I also looked up some reviews.
Oh,
and
yes.
I found one from Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, here we go.
That really made me cackle like a witch.
Okay.
Because it's exactly right.
Okay.
Infest, C-. Papa Roach is...
I'm in.
Yeah, this is great.
I could say C- without hearing a note of this record.
C-. Papa Roach is yet another band of screaming memes with a Jones for rockin', rap, and lyrics that sound vaguely insurrectionary, but do little more than massage the arguably anti-establishment prejudices of mall rats everywhere. Sure, kids will snap their necks to Infest bruising manifestos, like the anti-consumerist between angels and insects and the nihilistic dead cell, but will it make a whit of difference? Crank it up, dude. C-. Man, Mark Weingarten really going for it, and speaking for me, though it's 16 years later.
Let me just give you a little bit of what Rolling Stone said in their 4-star take in the Rolling Stone
let's
album
hear
guide.
it.
With so many hang-ups on its plate, disgust at oneself, one's parents, women, you can understand why so many rap rock bands forget to, rock. But no new metal band so conscientiously kept its obligation to rock out as Papa Roach did on Infest. Lots of metalheads seek grandeur through an inflated sound, but these guys have a simpler MO. Jerry Horton plays really big riffs, like those Ozzy came up with in the 80s. Drummer Dave Buckner pounds the songs past any hint of self-pity. And frontman Coby Dick exclaims dour observations like, "It's in our nature to kill ourselves, it's in our nature to kill each other, it's in our nature to kill, kill, kill."
Oh, God.
But rather than use the broken home of his youth to justify his actions, Dick struggles for sanity to break the cycle. Last Resort is a suicide note that seems especially creepy because the chorus emits a potent whiff of teen spirit. The band thrashes with such determination, though, that actual self-destruction is not an option.
I disagree with your book. I do not agree with your book.
We'll go into the track by track, but I definitely enjoy the fact that this album does not let up. It's a rocker front to back.
Wow.
Really?
Were we listening to the same thing?
Maybe not.
My first listen through, I thought, this sounds like a bunch of songs that were recorded at different times and they were just shoved together. And that's actually true. This is a bunch of songs that they'd recorded since I believe that they became a band in like 1993 or something because they met at the football field.
Yes.
Fucking bros. And you can smell the broiness all through. It's just like, this is exactly what happened. This is why I didn't listen to this shit, because after, I'm like mad now.
Oh.
Because this was like at a time when like, it would be that like the dudes on the football team are listening to like Korn and then Limp Bizkit. And then Papa Roach comes along and is like, this is the shit. Because it's as dumb as they were. And I'm not saying that all high school athletes were dumb. Everybody's fine, whatever. But I was just, this is exactly right. This is exactly the kind of shit. We'll get into it.
Okay.
It's kind of meatheady.
So meatheady.
I don't disagree that it's meatheady. It's definitely the most meathead thing we've listened to so far.
Listen, I love a good meathead, but like this is just no. So this album is made up of things that they'd recorded in several demos, and then they recorded, I think, just a few songs for this specific record.
Okay.
And they put them all together. And so that's why it sounds like a bunch of shit thrown together. There are a couple songs on here that I think are not terrible, but overall, I hate this album. And I'm mad that I listened to it 5 times.
All right, let's dive into these tracks.
Let's get right into it. Oh, don't worry, Matt. It started. You had looked confused. No, they take a couple minutes to sneak up on you.
It's a build-up.
Yeah, whatever.
It's that thing they set up like, do I have my speakers turned up loud enough? And then you turn it up too loud. And then
this happens.
And then this happens.
Oh, look, Piperata. No.
Jenny's head is exploding. If you could see the faces that she's making.
I hate this.
The thing that struck me on my first listen to this is that it sounded like the whole album sounded like an attempt to make a Rage Against the Machine album.
Yeah.
But with someone who has very little political interests.
Oh, I don't know. They get pretty political later in the album.
And here's the thing. I guess like I agree, but also I'm not offended by the problem that you have. And I have the lyrics in front of me in the lyric book here.
Okay.
But in this song, let me find it here.
We're going to Infest. Oh, it's coming up here. Turn up. The government, media, or your family.
No, it's family. Okay.
Okay. So basically, what I like about that is the sort of catch-allness of it. Like the government, media, or your family.
Yeah.
Whatever you are upset about, Papa Roach is there to cover it.
Hey, I'm Coby Dick. Mr. Dick, if you're nasty, are you upset about something? It's probably something. That is what this song is. And I hate him so much. And I'm mad that I thought he was hot. It's the worst.
It's funny to me because isn't that a Janet Jackson reference?
Yes. And I love Janet Jackson.
I love Janet Jackson.
Let me tell you a little story about when I listened to this song.
Okay.
All right?
This is what it's all about.
So, since I have now found myself in the unbelievable luxury that is not listening to the album on complete repeat, I have had the opportunity to listen to some other albums, including a Terry Reid album that was released last week. It's like he did his album River. They found a bunch of outtakes from it and some previously unreleased tracks. I've been listening to it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I'm walking around the neighborhood. It's the end of lilac season. So I'm walking and I'm listening to this album. I'm like, it's so great. And I see a cardinal and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. And I smell, I'm not walking around. This like breeze comes by and it's beautiful. And I smell just like a little bit of lilac and I'm looking at this cardinal and I'm feeling so grateful for this experience. And it's quiet. So I think the Terry Reid album is over. And then this fucking song starts. And I got so mad and I paused it and I went, no. Like, you will not ruin this moment that I'm like communing with nature. Like, it was so beautiful. And then fucking, welcome to the original Papa Roach sound file. I was like, oh, fuck you guys. Fuck every single one of you. Every member, past and present. Everyone who produced this album. And I didn't get to you because I feel like you did this to me, Lorin. But
Listen, when we were debating what album to do, it was either this or Disturbed, and we made the decision to not do Disturbed.
You're right. I agree. I chose this, but it was just...
This is the mission we embarked on.
I know.
We got to take the good with the bad.
I know. I'm being a baby.
I
will admit it. I'm being a baby, but this is a really bad album.
No, I just feel like I have a friend.
I know. Matt, this is the first time Matt and I have made like understanding eye contact since the beginning of this.
My note on Infest, the first song, is these riffs are on the attack. That was my big note I took. Because I really like I see Matt doesn't agree with me, but I just really, I don't know. I just like this one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't have something more distinct to say about it, but I mean, I think it's a good kickoff to the album. Lyrically, it's kind of stupid, but that's kind of consistent across the board, for this band as a whole. That being said, I think we can both agree that this album's women politics are pretty good.
I was pleasantly surprised that they are not super shitty to women.
Yes.
Although I know that Coby Dick did go through some times where he was being real shitty to his wife. But that's fine. That's just part of a relationship. They were married. They'd been married for 3 years when this came out and they got really big because they'd been playing for a long time.
Right.
But yes, I will admit that the women politics on this record are good.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
That's my nice thing I said.
Nice thing to say. Track 2. Big single. Okay. All right. Everybody's into this one. Everybody's bopping in this one.
I'm bopping. I'll admit it.
Here's my thought. I like him better as a singer than as a rapper. And I mean, not just because of the rapping's like white boy rapping, but I think he actually has a pretty good, like, rock singing voice.
Yes. For what he's doing, I agree. I like this song there.
Okay.
I do like this song.
All right. Yeah, I think this song is actually, I like the song better now than when it came out.
I do too. And I'm not sure if it's just because it kind of stands out for me on this record as something that I don't hate.
Sure.
This is like, it's very literal, but it's not as bad as what we're about to walk into.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. One thing I can get behind with this band is that I do think that these songs, although they are incredibly obtuse, I do think that kind of the purpose, the motivation behind a lot of them was to like connect with kids who were going through the same things that like, he went through when he was a kid. And so in that way, I think it's nice. And if it did help somebody, that's great. Cool. Whatever. I've said a lot more nice things than I thought I would.
There we go.
Here we go.
Okay. Track 3.
No. Here we go.
Broken Home. Now, I feel that this album is pretty good at not having songs that all sound the same.
That's because all the songs were recorded at different times for different purposes.
I don't feel that that's a necessary weakness here. You kind of say that as sort of like a negative, but I don't see how that's like necessarily a bad thing.
It's not like an album. We're going to argue over the song.
We're going to argue over Broken Home. Okay.
Before our home gets broken here.
Digging this riff.
It's not the worst riff. It's like, dude, could you try to write something a little bit less like exactly what you wrote in your journal? Like a little, I don't know. I'm just so like, oh God, we get it, dude. Maybe it's because I'm not 15 and I'm not like, my parents aren't fighting,
Sure.
I'm just like, oh Jesus, like how old are you? Also, I keep looking at this Roach on the album cover and it's so fucking dumb looking.
Well, the fact that they so heavily embraced to the point of, I mean, I looked at this and I thought, honestly, the fact that they put a roach on their album cover, it would be like if the Flaming Lips had an actual pair of lips that were on fire on their album cover.
Yes.
It actually, I feel like this is the dumbest thing they've ever done.
That is a dumb thing that they did, but that is exactly what they do over and over and over again. Like, we're called Papa Roach. I guess we better put a roach on it. This song's called Broken Home. I guess we better say Broken Home a bunch. Like, guys, it's not.
The lack of poetry is really putting you off.
It's like beyond lack of poetry. I
Yes.
do want to get back to what you're saying about how you don't think it's a bad thing that all the songs sound different. I think it is good to have variation in an album. I think it is good when the songs sound different, when they sound like they're intended to be on the same album.
So you don't think this album is cohesive?
Not at all. We'll get into. We have some surprises coming up. We've got some real fucking surprises.
We got some
coming
surprises.
Up. This feels more like a mismatched compilation that was shoved together to take advantage of a type of music that was becoming popular with a type of people that like were starting to get into it. I feel like somewhere someone was like, oh my God, there's a dude on the soccer team that's super into Korn. We need to find some kind of broy nu metal band. And they were like, we know somebody.
Well, I definitely agree that, I mean, at this point, 2000, we're talking, post Significant Other, post Follow the Leader. I mean, we're past.
We're in it.
We're in the thick of it. So you're definitely going to get, your sort of, for lack of a better word, like poser bands that kind of come up. I would say, for me, I would feel like Papa Roach is on the higher end of that. I feel like the band is solid. The drummer's kind of, but I feel like the guitarist and the bassist writes all the music. I feel like I think they got some chops there. I think that their career as a whole kind of bears out. I think if they were worse or less creative, I don't think they would still be in existence, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like right now, I would say they have a more viable career than Limp Bizkit does.
Well, what frightens me about this is that I agree with you. And it makes me think about the other stuff. I'm not afraid to agree with you. I'm afraid of agreeing with this specific statement because of what it means for the rest of the stuff that I'm going to listen to. Like, I don't know, man. How mad am I going to get?
Well, when I first pitched you this show, my whole thought was, how many terrible albums can I get Jenny to listen to and fly into a fury? No, that's not what I thought.
No, I know.
No, we didn't even talk about this. Papa Roach is this show's namesake.
I think that's part of why I'm so mad.
Oh, I see what you mean. Basically, we are in an improv troupe, and we would do these shows. If you live in the Detroit area, we do these shows at Go Comedy. And at the All-Star Showdown, you always have to come up with sort of a gimmick for your team. And I came up backstage one time when we were performing together that we would be called Roach Koach, the world's only improv group influenced by Papa Roach.
It's true.
And we performed it. It did okay, but I knew there was something special there. So went back a year later. We made shirts. We really got into it.
We really did.
And the audience loved us. Loved us. We won both rounds.
We did.
We did.
Thank you, Papa Roach.
Thank you.
There's another nice thing I'll say about Papa Roach.
Yep. And that audience was on board with all of our Papa Roach references. We played Scars at one point, and everyone was singing along to it.
That was a surprise to me.
Yes. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of Roach fans.
Well, while we're not talking about specific tracks, I do have a couple of Papa Roach fun facts I'd like to throw out there. So
Yes.
Papa Roach, the band's name comes from, so Coby Dick, he no longer goes by that. I'm calling him that out of spite. He goes by Jacoby Shaddix, which is his birth name, which is like, why don't you just keep that, you dummy? It's because he's fucking dumb. So it comes from his step-grandfather, Howard William Roach, who was nicknamed Papa Roach. Sad fact, he committed suicide in 2006 after he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So there's a little yikes. But yeah, their first tour van was called Moby Dick. And then Jacoby Shaddix was like, what if I call myself Coby Dick? Yeah. So their first, and this is a special fact for me. In 1994, they released their first EP, and it was called Potatoes for Christmas, which is just about the worst album title I've ever heard.
That's a pretty bad album title.
That's worse than, I forget what the Limp Bizkit ones were going to be, but it's worse than those.
Oh. The band names? Or
yeah. No. Well, yeah, maybe that was it. Anyway. That's a dumb thing they did. I was just looking for dumb things they did. I found a lot. What's next on this album? This song isn't the worst.
This song's pretty good.
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't mind the rapping on this. This song's in your favorite movie, Win at the Dam.
Oh, I know.
This one feels like a much more like he just got done listening to Evil Empire, and he's like, "Get me in the booth. I'm ready to spit."
Yeah.
But I love this hook, and I love what they do with the guitar on this one. Here it comes. I feel like this band has pretty good pop instincts.
Yeah, they are basically a pop band in my opinion. This is one of my favorite songs on the album.
There we go.
If that means anything. Yeah, they talk a lot in interviews that I read about how they, because they only really did like the rapping thing on the first few albums as far as I can tell.
They do, yeah, rapping on this album. There's rapping on 1 or 2 songs on Love, Hate, Tragedy, and then they pretty much abandoned it after that and then pursue more of like a straight ahead rock sound. And then they sort of fall into this sort of like sub Buck Cherry sound for a while. That is very unfortunate. If you don't like this album, baby, don't listen to Metamorphosis.
Don't worry, I probably won't unless it comes up.
I don't think it's going to come up.
So yeah, I mean, they talk a lot about how they just wanted to be like rockers. They just wanted to do rock and roll and pop and like not be judged. But they say the word like, we just want to like rock and roll. Jacoby tells a story about how he was on the football team with the other founding member of Papa Roach. And their senior year, they decided that they did not want to be on the varsity football team, but they wanted to go start a band. And he said, the dudes clowned on us, but we just wanted to rock and roll, like it's just in my soul. Rock and roll's in my soul. Constantly talking about wanting to rock. And you know what that does? That sets off my nerd alert. Stop talking about, dude, we're just rockers. Whenever I hear anybody be like, he's a rocker, I'm a rocker. Like, you are a fucking dork is what you are. You are a nerd. And I will flush you down the toilet, you fucking nerd. You could go rock. Go rock at like some fucking shitty bar. Play mostly covers, some originals. Like, get away from me.
So basically saying, I'm going to go rock is that you shouldn't do that.
It tells me it tells me is that you're not going to go rock.
You're not going to go rock.
You are not. No, you're not.
Fair enough.
I'm a rock.
All right. Okay, well, we both agree Dead Cell's pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, here we fucking go.
Oh, no.
This song. Right. This is the song.
Between Angels and Insects. Jenny was texting me so much anger about this. Like, literally just texting me, Between Angels and Insects in all caps, which I knew meant she was losing it.
Matt, you're going to hate this.
I think this is a solid riff. Just throwing it out there. Another solid riff. This is not aged well. I'm not going to lie. This part, I wrote, you'll love this. My notes for this song is that this is sort of the peak of the anti-consumerism, the message that is sprinkled throughout this album. This is the one that really digs into it. But also I wrote, they are dedicated to rocking.
Oh,
I wrote that
wow.
before we ever had this conversation.
Okay, I wasn't yelling at you about saying
I know
rocking.
that, but I think that is one of the things I admire about this, and that's the thing they bring up in the Rolling Stone review, is they're still like, okay, we're going to be, anti-consumerism, we're going to be in a broken home, we're going to be those, but we will not let up on these riffs. We're going to bring it 100%. There's no ballads on this album.
Well, there are no ballads on this album, but there's one song on this album that made me want to throw myself in a barrel and just toss myself down the side of a mountain.
Is it the secret track?
It's the secret
Yeah,
track.
secret track's not the, yeah.
The secret track is the best song on the album.
Whoa.
But
okay.
So this song, this is like, okay, buddy. Yeah, are you anti-consumerist? Like, go listen to Behind Enemy Lines and call me back. Like, go be a crust punk then. Is that what you want? You don't want, I don't want any diamond rings. I don't want any possessions. We're all obsessed with materialistic things. Like, well, then what are you doing? You're on a major label. Like, if you really believe this shit, go fucking get some dreads, get a dog you can't take great care of, hop in a van, ride around being a crust punk man. I don't want to hear this shit from Jacoby Shaddix. Like, what are you fucking talking about? For as sincere as I think some of these things are, this is such like just like a shitty net. It's like a net out to like, are there any like, this reads to me like a dude who has listened to 3 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast and is like, I'm going to write a song about this. Like, I just want to like flush these dudes down the toilet one by one and watch them spin down. Like, no. They don't mean this. They don't mean this at all. Fuck your money. Fuck your possessions. Fuck your obsession. I don't need that shit. Really? Really? I'd like to see his house. I'd like to hear about that. You don't need money. You don't have possessions. You have kids and a wife. How are you taking care of them? I was so mad by the time I got to this song, and I'm still mad. Anyway, I need to stop raging.
These are valid points that she's bringing up.
And the title...
Yeah.
The title of the song is Between Angels and Insects, and it was initially called Obsession, but they changed it to that. Somebody was like, you know what we should call it? Between Angels and Insects. That title alone is enough to just set me on fire. Oh, Between Angels and Insects.
Oh, man. I think, as I've established on previous episodes, I'm more of a vibe guy. But even I was very much aware of the, sort of boneheadedness of this. These are all valid points. You're very much opening my eyes to a lot of this. I only listened to it 3 times.
Okay, well, 4 and 5 will take you there. I don't
Okay.
even want to know how I would feel if I'd been listening to this nonstop. I would probably be in here covered in dirt and twigs because I would just be like shoving my head in a bush over and over again out of rage. What's next? Blood Brothers?
Blood Brothers.
Let's listen to that.
Now, for a large group of people, this is the song that Tony Hawk first did.
They never let up on that one riff.
I like this one, but I think it's because it reminds me of playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater in 2001 and doing some sick ollies. And once again, this is, very much a, fake Rage Against the Machine. I honestly, guys, at home listening, the looks that Matt and Jenny are giving me on this, I really feel like I came in here not knowing how unarmed I really was in attempting to defend this album that I had a lot of fun listening to.
I'm
when
sorry,
I listened to it
I'm
tonight, I was
sorry.
like, pretty fun. But
I did realize that I have my hand on my hip like you're about to be grounded at any moment.
you do.
And I'm just being me, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always liked this song. This is the song I associate with Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I also like the as you said, it's in our nature to kill each other. It's nature to kill. I just love that sort of, I don't know, unhinged weirdness of that.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
And maybe it's a clarification point, or I don't know what I'm going to say, but here it is. When I listen to this, because this is truly the first time I've ever heard this whole record, Although I've heard Broken Home because I watched TRL
Yes.
and I saw, a big single,
Yeah, Last Resort.
Last Resort, and I enjoyed that song. When I hear this, I hear like just you kind of saying that you found them on TRL is the ethos of this band to me in this era. Is like,
This isn't a band that you could imagine some kid just hearing and being like, oh, I need to tell my friends about this.
Right.
Like more like an A&R guy passed a disc to TRL and said, throw this up on the counter.
there is a manufactured sound to this because so many bands have this sound. Like, part of it is like, okay, well, that's a Pennywise song, with a rap rock edge.
Mhm.
And then Sum 41, I think, just straight up blatantly steals from them for All Killer No Thriller. But so it's like the mechanics are there
Mhm.
to make it. I think you're correct. The pop sensibilities of this band are there, but I think it rings kind of hollow to me. It doesn't give me, and this is now 4 episodes in, listening to 4 albums that I've never listened to.
Right.
This is the one that feels the best produced.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, this just feels like, oh, this is a product.
Mm.
This is not necessarily the mission statement of a band or the, I
Right.
don't get that feeling. And I feel like there is no subtext. It's all text. It's
Okay.
like, we're from a broken home.
Yeah. Well, it was it. I believe producer is Jay Baumgardner. So it's not our Angel Ross on this one.
No, there's clearly no angels. Not even the angel in between Angel and Insects is not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped a track.
It's okay.
We'll go back.
But I mean, yeah, it is definitely slicker sounding. I mean, definitely if they had brought in Ross, it would have been, I don't know if it would have been more to your liking, but I think it might have been it probably would have sounded a little more raw. I think he might have pushed him a little harder. He probably would have pushed him to maybe make the lyrics a little more personal.
Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot. I don't think Ross would have let these dudes dip their little toes in the Indigo Ranch. All right.
Okay. So
These
you thought
people are not
all right.
allowed in the Indigo
Okay.
Ranch.
I'm just saying he did, I mean, Sugar Ray got into the Indigo Ranch.
Well, everybody makes mistakes, Lorin.
Oh, well, no, that's for another episode. Okay. Track, I don't even know what track number this is.
7.
7. Revenge. This is, by my count, the first relationship song on the album that deals at all with a woman.
Yes.
This is the first song on the album that has any sort of DJ scratching. I looked it up from the liner notes. DJ AM
Yeah.
does the scratch on this album. Yeah. And now it's just mouth. Wow.
It's true. It's true.
I'm like half and half on this. Because this breakdown part, this is that sort of generic-y, new metalish, like, it's not quite rhythmic, but this part I liked. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. This song is okay.
Yeah.
This is about where I get my bearings after the rage that comes from Between Angels and Insects.
Sure.
So I think it's all right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next track.
This
track 8.
this song is unhinged. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it.
Snakes.
This song has taken me places. This is a fun one.
Well, this is the requisite fakes and haters track.
Yeah.
And also, this is a very POD sounding song. Very POD sound. As somebody who owns 2 POD albums, this is a very POD sounding song.
Well,
If you were who have played this and POD going back and forth, I don't know if I could tell the difference.
I feel like I agree that they're both pretty slick, but I feel like at least the early PODs have a very discernible guitar sound. Their guitarist at the time, I know, was very much, creating a very specific sound. That's actually, I think, what was, not to get off track, but what was POD's undoing is when they let that guitarist go for whatever BS reasons, and then they just got a guy. And it's the same thing Limp Bizkit did, They're like, oh, we can just replace Wes Borland with a guy. Literally named Mike Smith. That still kills me. He
Mike
literally
Smith.
just like, oh, who'd you get to Wes Borland? the name you'd fill in on an application if you don't want to put your real name. More scratching from
Yeah.
BJM on this
Yeah.
one. I mean, this one gives me a very POD vibe.
Yeah, this is the song that I was like, surprise DJ. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Okay. Oh. Okay. This is a move that we haven't done yet on this podcast.
Okay.
Can we go back to Revenge for a second, please?
Sure.
I forgot about a note I have. If we could go back to Revenge. So sorry to go back, but if we could go to about 209 in, something happens in this song that made me go, what?
Ooh,
Where the fuck did this come
Yes.
from?
that's right. This is the hip hop breakdown. I do have this in my notes. Yeah.
Like, what?
This is like they listened to the end of Blind and they were like, let's put that in the middle of a song.
This is a perfect example of how this album is just like, it's like you haven't gone grocery shopping in a while. You got a bunch of shit in your kitchen. You're like, this will probably taste okay. To someone who's never eaten good food, it probably does. But I've heard $3 bill, y'all, and I'm not eating your trash meal. Okay? P. Roach.
Oh, well, that's a very good point.
All right.
All right.
Never enough.
Never enough.
I really liked, for all of that we've said about the lyrics being too much, the lyrics on the song made me laugh, they made me smile, because one of them is someone kick me in the face.
Yeah.
That, I just, sometimes you just go, from being too literal to just right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a broken clock is right 2 times a day. Sometimes you write a lyric, someone kick me in the face. And let me just find these lyrics here.
Yeah, this one's confusing too, because he's just straight up, he's doing a little like whiny boy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, cause later on in it, he says, somebody kick me in the face. Now something's wrong with me. I'm bleeding profusely.
And this seems natural to me. I fuck up every day. Somebody put me in my place. Like, anybody who made it this far into the album would probably be happy to kick him in the fucking face. I would be. I just don't get this song. It is funny when he says to kick him in the face. And I kind of be like,
I like this one because it's a nice reprieve from the rapping. And I like him better as a singer than a rapper.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the album is definitely winding down. Although I did like that even the self-abuse track does not slow the tempo down. Like anybody else, Cold, some other, Nu-Metal also ran, they would slow it down. Stained would definitely slow it down.
Stained would slow down.
Stained would freaking slam that pedal to the ground and say, no, we're going to slow this roll.
You know what you reminded me of?
Hmm.
This album came out the same year as my favorite Madball album, Hold It Down.
Okay. I don't know.
You don't know. They're a hardcore band. This is where I defend my love of meatheads.
Mhm.
There have rarely been more meat-headed hardcore bands than Madball. They are straight up. They're in the DMS crew, so they just go around like beating people up. DMS stands for demonstrating my style. But this is the year Hold It Down came out, and they're totally just like, they're not bros. I don't even know what they are. They're just hardcore dudes.
Okay.
Oh, Matt, please go ahead.
Do we have some Madball?
Why not just go right into Hold It Down? I love this album front to back.
Oh, wow.
It's so fucking good. And I will fight anybody who says it's not. Matt just mouthed, I know this band.
See, yeah, I hate these type of vocals.
How can you hate this and like Papa Roach?
I don't know, like this type of vocal has always just never really appealed to me. It's like very like on a case by case basis, and in the case like this, I would, yeah. Oh, I believe that you know all the lyrics.
I
that
do.
you can
I'm
mouth
not trying to
them at me.
prove anything. I'm excited.
I
I'm
know,
listening to something I like in a sea of shit.
Yeah. No, I
Okay,
don't know.
You can Freddie Madball.
I guess for me, it's
I'm sorry, can you say that name again?
Freddie Madball.
wait. His name is Freddie Madball.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. Let's just back this up. So, Mr. Coby Dick, Mr. Dick if you're nasty, but the name of this guy is Freddie Madball.
Because
Was
I
that
like
the name?
it.
Was that the name he was given when
No,
when he
it's
exited
not.
the womb?
No.
When they said, "Mrs. Madball, what are you going to name this boy?"
Don't try to misdirect your disappointment that
Oh.
I didn't like.
Oh no,
Here's
no.
the difference.
It's fine.
Here's the
I just
difference
wanna
between
point it
Freddie
out.
Madball
I just
and
wanna point
Coby Dick.
Please.
Freddie Madball means every one of his dumb lyrics, and he would beat the crap out of Coby Dick. And Coby Dick would be like, "Ugh, ow." I don't know. There's no argument. I was hoping something would come out, but I like Madball, so it's fine with me.
I understand that. No, it is funny though that we've spent so much time bad mouthing Mr. Coby Dick, who's
Well-
really Mr. Coby Siatics, and then we brought up Mr. Freddie Madball.
Well, listen, the reason, whatever, I'm
It's named after the guy.
not shut up, Lorin. If they hear this,
I know.
DMS
They're
crew
gonna
is
DMS
gonna-
crew. They're gonna come right to
they're
my
gonna
house.
come right to your
Yeah,
house, and
yep.
you're gonna say, "No, no, no, don't
Mhm.
you make fun of us."
Yeah.
But what the reason that it was striking to me was because, like, I do think that Madball is a very bro-y, like, different kind of bro, but it's very much like Meatheads, like, just super heavy things. They have breakdowns, which, you know, Papa Roach doesn't, but I feel like it's like a similar type of people would be into these bands.
Okay.
So this is basically my way of saying I don't hate Meatheads, I just hate Papa Roach. And also throwing in a little Madball track to keep me from losing my goddamn mind
Losing your mind.
listening to this. Electric Wizard Dope Throne also came out in 2000.
And another one I don't know.
Well, you know, we don't need to listen to it, but it's
Okay,
good.
That's fine. I mean, the other album that came out in 2000 was Chocolate Starfish. Just mentioning that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2000, Matt. 2000. Also,
Yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age Rated R, which is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park also came
Ooh,
out.
That's
year.
right. Ooh, that's coming up.
That's coming up.
That's coming up.
We'll do that one.
All right, yeah. All right, next track, Binge.
Binge.
If I may read my notes on this one. I keep in mind, I took all these notes while making spaghetti tonight. So I
Okay.
would be like stirring, and then I'd think of something and write it down. And looking at this, I wasn't thinking of much. But what I wrote for Binge was, it's about drinking. Literally. Love it. And then I wrote in quotes, put it down, put it down. Because that's what he said.
Could have put that down. And then he talks very sincerely about just drinking and doesn't need any friends. No.
No.
I think here's the funny thing about this one. At this point, I'm definitely like, all right, this album's almost over. I've enjoyed some of it, most of it, but I'm definitely ready to go. The vocals on this track, though, definitely sound like they're like, we got one take, you guys, and then we got to close the studio down. This has a very first take, so I'm assuming that this is like an older track that they put in
I'm
there.
not sure. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. And
It's about drinking. I like this one because of how literal it is. That seems to be the thing I really like about this band is how stupidly literal they are, and that is something that you hate about them. So that is an interesting impact.
I just got sick of it after a while.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'm on a binge. Yeah. Okay, we get it.
All right.
Last one thrown away. I'm
Uh,
gonna resist the urge to make a joke here.
Yeah, I also wrote my notes for this one is that it has a bad, actually, it's kinda, I don't know why, I wrote kinda bad vocals on the bridge. Yeah, I think this one does.
But once again, though, this is the last song in the album. Still rocking.
You know what? I don't hate this song.
Phone. Like, I feel like after, like, the Never Enough, the Binge, whatever, it's like, to get this final win, like, all right, let's end this strong.
Yeah, you know, they don't let up.
But this part, I think the vocals are bad. Like, I don't know, they just sound thin to me.
Why?
But then, love that guitar. That little scream there. If I knew how to play guitar, I'd know what that's called, but I don't. So I'm just going to call it a little guitar, little squeal on it.
I just want to point out at the beginning of the second verse starts out, he's born sick, nothing in his hands but his dick.
Really?
Yeah, which made me laugh pretty hard. I do like the chorus, thrown away. I want to be thrown away because frequently when I'm having a bad day, I do think like, I wish somebody would just throw me in the garbage. So maybe this, and we've got to listen to the secret track on
absolutely.
this album.
Absolutely.
It's
It's about like 5
It's-
minutes in.
Oh yeah,
There it is.
here we go.
That's it. Yeah.
Matt's face is exactly right.
Yeah,
It's
Matt.
complete confusion.
This is another one. Very. I mean, this is like very.
Did they watch Adrian Brody introduce Sean Paul?
Probably.
On SNL. Protect the neck.
I thought, what in the 311 hell is going on here?
Yeah, it's definitely 311. 311 POD.
Amber is the color of your energy.
Yes, exactly. Again, what the fuck? Where did this come from?
Here's the thing. There is, having listened to a good chunk of their discography, they don't do this ever again.
Okay.
That I'm aware of. This was a one-time secret track deal, and then they were like, we're not going to. The bonus track on Love, Hate, Tragedy is a Pixies cover of Gouge Away.
Okay, great. Well,
so, they immediately switched gears and weren't doing any more fake reggae. So I think it's pretty clear that you would not put this album in the canon.
unless it's a poser canon, then no, because these dudes are posers.
They're posers.
We can throw Last Resort in there,
I would say you've got to put Last Resort.
but I think it needs like an asterisk next to it.
What does the
Just
asterisk
like,
indicate?
this band is full of a bunch of fucking nerds. That's what I think it needs to say.
I once again, I am always thrilled by your candor and trueness of how you really feel about these albums, especially this one. Because I really, gonna be honest, I thought this one, I gave this one a listen a couple weeks ago, just on like, I'm just gonna listen to it. I know we're gonna do it for the show, and I was like, ooh, this is rocking front to back. I thought we had a home run on it. And then listen number 2, I was like, this guy's pretty dumb. But but on listen number 3 today, I was still like, I don't know, the rocking on this still works for me. But I can appreciate your criticisms.
Would you put this in the canon?
Now that you've firmly, really kind of laid down the law on it, I don't think I could in good conscience.
If you could convince me why, I could be persuaded. I respect your opinion. I just happen to disagree
I guess
with
for
it on this.
me, I mean, maybe I'm jumping ahead here because we still have so many more to listen to, but I feel like Papa Roach's commitment to actually being a rock band, being committed to like actually having rock songs front to back on the album, I feel like they cannot be underestimated or undervalued. Because when you listen to a Stained, when you listen to a Cold, when you listen to a lot of these other bands, I feel like these guys, I mean, take Jacoby Shaddix out of the equation for a minute, okay? Just remove him from the equation, okay? In the same way that you would say, like, okay, remove Fred Durst, like, still look at that band. I think this is a good band. All right.
I disagree with you.
okay.
I don't think
Fair.
they're good enough to, like, get rid of the damage that dumbass Jacoby has done.
I mean, I could be colored on this because I do sincerely love Hate, Tragedy. Like, I really like that album. So, I mean, I don't know if that could be coloring it a little bit, and I might be transferring. But, I mean, I have to say, going into this album, I was like, this could be, dumb fun, and I thought it was dumb fun, and I didn't think it gave me kind of the skeevies that, like, the Korn album gave me.
No.
And I think that's, I mean, my kind of, idea when we were starting this podcast was, to discover it's like, it's not all, there's a woman in my basement and she's dead and wrapped in paper. You know what I mean? Like, like
yeah, there wasn't that is like the highest praise that I could sing for this album,
Right.
is that it's not all about like creepy. It's not disrespectful to women.
No.
And I can really appreciate that. And I think that's great, but
yes,
it's still a fucking terrible album.
Okay.
Like, good for not being shitty to women, but also bad for doing a bad job writing all these songs.
okay, Matt.
So my question is, what in particular about this album qualifies it as nu metal? Because listening to it, I don't necessarily hear the things that I heard in Deftones, Horn, or Limp Bizkit's album that were like, oh, these are quintessential sounds. There was some scratching here and there, but I kind of felt like there wasn't too much away from a modest hardcore sound to a really aggressive punk sound that makes me feel like, oh, this is nu metal. Like the same way that I felt like the last three, we were like, these are very clear nu metal albums.
Well, I think those three albums, I mean, came out earlier in the 90s and are sort of like template setters. I mean, at this point in 2000, we're 6 years removed from the first Korn album. At this point, I mean, this is the same year that the third Limp Bizkit album came out. So at this point, you're kind of merging what was some of that clunky sound. And like I said, like you both have pointed out, this is a slick record. So it's not going to have, I think, as many of those sort of weird Korn, Limp Bizkit-y moments of those early records. You know, I mean, this record's made to be accessible. For good or, for better or for worse. And this is made to be an accessible record. So I think you're not going to get as many of those nu metal-y sounds that were initially the appeal. But I mean, yeah. I mean, like this is a DreamWorks. They're on DreamWorks label. You know, it's not made to be as I think as gritty or as raw, quote unquote, as those records are or were allowed to be. And I mean, I think if you look up this producer, Jay Baumgartner, I think his resume pretty much shows that he's somebody who's always been pulled in to do, a lot of slick work. Do you have him up?
No, I could.
Yeah, because I believe his resume, if we run through that, is kind of like he's not like anybody's first choice. I think he's he's probably like a hired gun for the label.
It's like a utility player.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
yeah, Ugly Kid Joe.
Okay.
Helmet.
Holy sweet
Helmet?
Jesus.
Which helmet?
Which helmet?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
It might be.
Was it bad?
His most recent work is producing the Bush album "Man on the Run."
Oh, that's not a great album. If anyone's,
he's just, it's like he's trying, but
if I'm correct, is he Hoobastank?
Hoobastank, possibly.
Oh wait, no, that's Howard Benson.
We've got some Cold Chamber, Godsmack, Newfound Glory, Spine Shake, Alien Ant Farm, Orgy, Death by Stereo. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like he's a firm B-list guy. Like he's the guy you get if Ross says you can't come to Indigo.
Yeah, Drowning Pool. These are all people that I wouldn't let into the Indigo Ranch.
Yeah, these are sort of B or C level bands.
Yeah, he's like an angel with one wing. Jay Baumgartner. Can't really fly, just kind of spins in a circle. He's fine.
All right, so Last Resort with an asterisk that they're fucking posers.
They're nerds.
They're nerds. I'm
These
sorry.
Fucking nerds.
Fucking nerds. Gets to
You're
be in the
actually
canon.
writing that
I'm
down?
writing it down so I don't forget.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say I'm sorry. I feel like
Don't
I
apologize.
took your fun time and
I had a lot of fun.
Shoot it up into little bits.
I had
and
a lot
spit
of
it
fun
out
talking
and set
about
it on
this.
fire.
This is great.
All right. Well, I hate it.
I know you hate it. That's what it's all about. There's some that are going to be hits. We're going to sit here and bask in the awe of Wes and Fred, and then there are going to be ones where we deal with Jacoby and crew.
And crew.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to the end of the episode.
I guess so. I just want to say that I'm really grateful that I never have to listen to this record again. And I'd also, mostly just that. It
That's
really
just that?
fills me with joy.
Okay. Are you excited for next week?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. We should talk about it.
Sure.
Next week, Matt, we will be doing Kid Rock Double Without a Cause. Okay.
We got a fist pump.
So, I mean, I haven't listened to that album in 16 years, probably. Yeah.
Spotify is going on a private session.
All right. Well, that is the end of the show. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Certainly check us out online on Twitter, Roach Koach on Twitter with a K. You knew that. My name is Lorin.
I'm Jen, and thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
You're
Once
welcome.
again,
Thank
for
you.
your producing abilities. All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Roach Koach.
Podcast.
Hot all day. Every day. It's the Roach Koach
Podcast.
all